helping me out with my class, and it's a great resource that you're going to want to know about. The district purchased Learning List resources. The reason we purchased this, we had an amazing opportunity. I had an opportunity to go to this workshop last year at an assessment conference, and the thing this helps with is, are your instructional materials really helping our kids get where they need to be? Are our instructional materials holding our kids behind? Because I don't know about you guys, but I look at my TEKS and I see what I need to cover, and then I look at my resources, and my resources say, okay, it covers 5.4A or B or whatever. But does it really? The Learning List breaks down the TEKS, it breaks it out into the parts. So 5.8A, B, C, A for science is that weathering and erosion, students have to understand weathering and erosion by water, wind, and ice. Well, my resource, which is Mentoring Minds, which is a very popular resource for Texas, only covers 2 of those. It doesn't cover the other breakout. So all this is Learning List takes our resources. Let me back up. Are instructional materials supporting our student success or not? So kind of I said that. That's what I meant. Are they really covering to the verb of the TEK? Are they really covering to the rigor of the TEK? Now some of you kinder, first and second graders, teachers, you guys still have to cover the TEKs, but you're not tested on a star level, so it's still just as important that y'all are covering up the rigor so they're ready vertically for the next grade and vice versa. We rely way more on our instructional materials here because we really don't have a set curriculum for reading. We don't have a set curriculum for any of our subjects. I know we have books, but we all, as teachers, pull from our supplementals, and that's where we do all of our lesson planning. So we have to make sure that our supplemental materials are covering really what the TEK is saying. So the Learning List separates it by the 3 T's. They look at the standard, and they break down the nouns. They break down the where and when. Where and when is the learning taking place, and then the demand of the verb. This is our rigor level. What level is it going to be tested at? So this is a 7th grade standard, and the standard is part of the TEK that we don't always look at. We only look at the actual student expectation, and a lot of the stuff is in the standards that we miss. So it wants to know just by this one. Will y'all come over here? Y'all can just look at this one. There's a couple of pages right here. So just by looking at the standard, let's look at the content. Can you tell by the student expectations what the students expected to learn?
Very broad.
It's very broad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And can we find the where and the when of the standard?
In just this part?
Well, you can look at the student expectation also.
All right.
The beginning of the 20th century?
Yes.
That's
Everywhere. Yeah, and again, it's pretty broad, right?
issues
And
that
the
shape
reconstruction,
history of
so it
Texas.
covers the reconstruction
Yeah.
era, right?
Yeah.
And then, what are they expected to do? So, identify significant events, people, issues from the reconstruction all the way through the beginning of the 20th century. So that's hugely broad.
Yeah.
So again, the Learning List is a great resource. It will break it down. it has a list of thousands of resources. Mentoring Minds on there. There's a lot of writing resources on there. There's a ton of science, even all the way down to kinder, all the way up. And these resources, it tells you exactly. So it'll say page 4, lesson 1 over. I'm going to go back to science because it's one I've looked at recently. Over properties of matter, it didn't cover volume. Or it'll tell you exactly what is not covered in our supplemental material, and it'll break it down. And so I see, oh look, this isn't covered, so what do I need to do as a teacher? I need to pick up something that does cover that. And I think all of us know our standards well enough that we can know what the standard covers. But it was a real eye-opener to know that even though that said that it covered that entire standard, it really didn't. It didn't cover the breakouts. It didn't cover every part of the standard to the rigor that it was written, the standard was written. So, again, they'll even, if our resources aren't on there, if we send it to them, they'll have it back to us in a month. So, again, here's just an idea of what you can see when so we have the history standard, the expectations. One of the breakouts that I see, and this is another breakout, that's another breakout. It didn't align to this standard, whatever resource they were using. The only thing it aligned to was James Hogg in an article. So they only covered one person instead of covering multiple people. So, and then it shows how the reviewers broke it out, why they said it really wasn't covered. And that's what it was. It only covered one person. And that's a huge teat to have one person that, oh, we covered that. No, really we didn't. So all I have to do is add your email addresses and you have access. And if you have TEKS or not TEKS, but materials you want me to submit for you, then we can submit those. But there are thousands of books already in there. I told you All Mentoring Mind is already in there. Our what's our math program?
Orgo.
Reading Street is in there. Origo was in there. And actually, Origo was 100% aligned. But the rigor wasn't where it is. It's 100% aligned. It covers everything. But then it shows its weaknesses are the rigor. The rigor isn't at the level that it needs to be at. But when I saw 100% on Origo, I was like, no way. And then because, we tried to use that and we finally just ditched it and said, let's pull our own stuff.
Except for personal financial literacy.
Yes,
That was
amazing on
that was
personal
the best
financial
lesson.
lit, but
But
horrible
other than that,
at the rigor that they're going to be tested on. Most everything was just written in problem form, hardly any word problems or things like that. So, like I said, it's really I just want to give you a brief overview of kind of what it offers. There's even a part that shows, look, I covered this, but they're still weak in these areas. What can help me hit those? So there's an actual, just a chart for that, especially for our RTIs. So I was like, Kelly, you two would use that all the time.
Say that part again? There's a what?
There's a part in it that shows your RTI. You can say, I'm looking for this, and in this resource, what would back me up? What could I use to help back up this?
Resource ideas in general.
And so can you put in like the TEK and will pop up then like backwards like resources that there are?
Well, no, because
There's too many.
there's so many. When
So
I
you would
tell
have
you
to put
there's
in the
over
resources.
1,000, there's probably closer to 3,000 resources that are in there. And they're being submitted every single month because they have people on staff all the time. And these people are educators, that they've taken on their staff, all they do is look at the breakout. Some of them are from TEA. Some of them are, I mean, they're the ones that helped write the standards, so they know exactly what they're wanting. Mentoring Minds was like super blew up because this covers the standard, this covered the standard. Yes, it covers broadly the standard, but it doesn't cover all of the breakouts. So if it doesn't cover all of the breakouts, there is something that standard didn't cover, and it tells you exactly what it was. So that's a gap if you don't cover it. And that's what we're seeing a lot of. That's why we're having some of the breakdowns in writing. That's why we're having some of the breakdowns in sciences. Those aren't being covered. Yes, we're covering states of matter, but are we covering why, to the depth that the peaks are written, and at what level? So we can do it on our own, of course, but that's already done for us. But again, we spend so much time looking for resources that this just helps us see, is our resources really helping us? Are resources, are they hurting our kids? Not hurting them in a way that we're still teaching, of course we're still teaching, but are we really teaching what the standard expects them to know so that they're ready? I mean, unfortunately, Texas is a tested state. Are they ready for that test? And if it's not covered now, that's a gap. And that gap just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger until someone does cover it and hopefully makes that connection. But we already have a big enough hole. Sometimes it's hard to feel everything.
It's bigger and bigger.
And we're busy, we're working, we're teaching, everyone's doing it. And we think we're covering everything, but this is just a nice, quick little resource to help us say, oh, I need to pull something for this. No problem. I mean, I don't know if that helps any or not, but
So Audrey, do they need to let you know if they want access to Learning List, or does everybody automatically already have that?
Noah has it. We
Okay.
have to give them access to it.
Okay.
It is a yearly fee, not for us, it's just for a school. We have a yearly fee. But I think as many people of us that can use it, let's get on it. Let's,
Well, I mean, it would save time just searching through all the resources that we already try to use.
Yeah.
It would help eliminate just digging out binders and books and this, and it's already there. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you can search, well, you wanna use this off of Teacher Pay Teacher. There's some stuff that has gone through. Not a ton, because most
Right.
of it's published material, but there's
Right.
some of that's already been looked at. So, and I know a lot of us purchase a lot of stuff off,
Yeah.
I do,
Yeah.
hundreds of dollars a year.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, all of our supplement, what's another math supplemental that you use?
Chemical?
CVP?
Cameco's on there,
Okay.
CVP is
Ford.
Ford,
That's the one.
yeah, they're on there. All of the state adopted materials are on there already.
Oh, nice.
So all of those are already done. They don't actually redo what the state does, because the state says they're covered. But they do say that this might need a little extra. But I don't know what the conflict is there, but when I was training with her, she said, now if the state says it's a line, then you can't go back and say it's not a line. But we can tell you some areas that might need a little extra help. So those are automatically on there, and like I said, any school district, we have access to everyone's stuff that they've already uploaded. I mean, we can't print their pages or anything like that, but we have access to the reports on how that page is covered or how that lesson is covered and what needs to be added to. But it'll be super amazing even for you two with your RTI, and for us, cause we do RTI in the classroom.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, I'm sure
I would say start with the people that are here, and then as word spreads, you know, if y'all wanna show your teammates and stuff, if they want access, have them email Audrey.
And I can go into more depth, but I really wanted to make it short and sweet. Grades are due today, you know, that. And,
Sorry, so they're running in.
but,